Rohan Patel, comic book movie. Hey Malcolm, how are you?
How you doing, man?
Doing well. I enjoyed the press conference a lot. So you're living every writer's dream right now. Pretty much everyone's dream getting to work at Marvel Studios.
Yep.
So could you maybe like just touch on what your process was like pitching the series to Kevin and like just working inside like this blockbuster manufacturing beast?
It's intimidating, and I think most writers in Hollywood are mindful of when they come to Marvel because you have to be a fan, and they respond to passion. You know what I'm saying? And you can't fake it coming in. So I've only gone into Marvel one other time, and that was 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And for this one, I knew I had something to say. And I knew if they invited me in, I could make it work no matter how the story evolved or change. And so I went in there and I initially pitched to Nate Moore and Zoe Nagelhout, who became my partners. Marvel assigns you partners to go through a project, and I crushed it. And I talked about Black excellence and, the ambivalence a Black man would have with facing the Shield. I talked about Bucky having all this baggage that's established in the MCU. I talked about how to bring it all together. They had ideas. It was great. We were vibing. And then I pitched to Kevin and bombed because, a week later, they brought me back in to pitch to Kevin and Victoria and Lou, and I had a migraine and I tanked it. And I think one of the unique things about Marvel is that Kevin trusted Nate and Zoe enough for them to say, because other writers are coming in also, you know what I'm saying? Trusted Nate and Zoe enough to say, I know he was terrible, but I'm telling you, when this guy's not in agony, he's extremely passionate and has some really good ideas.
Awesome. Yeah, no, let's see, like I really like the first episode is great because you go into the Captain America movies expecting action, and then you get to spend time with Cap, but you don't get to necessarily spend time with Sam and Bucky. And so here you get to see them in their own element, see them struggling because like they're essentially Cap sidekicks in the movies, but here you get to see them be their own men. So when you're exploring these characters, did you decide? I know Endgame kind of sets the stage for who gets the shield, and he passed it to Sam himself. But did you ever explore maybe Bucky also getting the shield, or maybe they sharing it?
Yeah, I mean that was all explored, and different versions of that will occur in the series.
Okay. Sorry, I was rambling for a second, but yeah, no. And then so like there's this unique chemistry between Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan that you don't necessarily see them how like it's not the same like how they are with Chris Evans. So when did you start to see like, oh, there's something there, and then we can make something special out of these two people?
I swear, I always say this in these interviews. I believe in one moment, me, Kevin, every fan in the Marvel universe saw that these two needed a series, and that's that moment in Civil War when they're in the car. And I don't know how it's possible that they had that much chemistry that clearly, but we didn't have to see none. I mean, we did end up watching a bunch of interviews with them to see that the chemistry does live beyond, but it is, I showed up knowing what they could do. I showed up knowing that if I just put those two in certain scenarios, they're going to take it out the park.
Yeah, they did a killer job. And so Sam, like in the first episode, he thinks he's doing the right thing by giving the shield over to the U.S. government, and obviously they screw everyone over, and then they introduce the U.S. agent at the end, the new Captain America. So like now, as the series moves into the latter episodes, what would you say is driving these two characters to possibly reacquire the shield or whatever threat they're about to come up against?
Well, they both have very, very serious personal issues they're going to have to deal with. Sam is dealing with doubt on two levels. Doubt that, I mean, Steve's a hell of leaves some big shoes to fill, right? And then doubt that this country would ever accept a Black man carrying that symbol. Bucky is dealing with all this regret and guilt that's accrued over 100 years of killing people, or almost 100 years of killing people, you know what I'm saying? And he's finally having a breath in his life to confront that. So before they deal with the shield, they have to deal with themselves. And when they do deal with the shield, they have to deal with the fact that their mutual best friend Steve Rogers is gone, and sort of like the sense of loss that brings. So it's no one's. I mean, what you see happen in the first episode is very, very real. It's not like it's about to do a U-turn in episode 2.
Yeah. And so speaking of like Steve being gone, I know it's probably too spoiler, but do you ever like explore like what actually became of him, or is that just a mystery that we get to all enjoy and figure out like in our headspace what happened to him?
Well, I think Joaquin was asking the same question in the first episode. Yeah, it's still a mystery.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I like it like that. So like 2 characters we haven't seen yet are Baron Zemo and Sharon, who we know are going to have a big part. So like when we meet them eventually, or like get reintroduced to them, where would you say like these 2 characters? Where will we find them?
It's a blast. First of all these characters get special treatment in the series because there's space to do it. And so Daniel Bruhl just starts to play. When he showed up and did these scenes, he just plays with them like it's like a concert pianist, to see how the different angles and the different levels of humor and psychology he can bring to them. And Baron Zemo himself is basically, he sees himself as a hero, which is the most dangerous kind of villain. You know what I'm saying? Like he has, and what we wanted to do with all the villains in this thing was give them legitimate arguments for why they're doing what they're doing. So much so that even the other heroes start to, at times, agree with them. So Daniel Bruhl is dealing with the fact that his country and his family were destroyed by people like this, and that the world's in chaos, and it takes someone like him to help set it right. Sharon is a blast, because once you dig into, wait a minute, when's the last time we saw her? When she was in Civil War, what happened? And we got to write an entire backstory that the audience won't even see, but bring it to life once you meet her and realize what all she must have been through. Even though she still has the baby face, you know what I'm saying, and looks innocent, she's got a lot more edge now.
Yeah, and I know like the series was, I know COVID kind of messed things up, but like the series was close to wrapping when this happened in August, when Chadwick Boseman passed away. And like we get to see Rhodey in the first episode, and he's kind of a mentor to Sam, and we got to see that in Infinity War as well. And then Bucky spent time in Wakanda. So like, did you ever like think about exploring what the Black Panther would have meant to these 2 characters? Because like I know myself, like seeing an Indian superhero would be like next level as a kid. Or like I know Cap was Sam's superhero, but then he meets this African king who's also a superhero. He's badass, and then Bucky also get to like spend a lot of intimate moments with him. So, is there any like exploration of that?
Well, it's huge, and you're right. Like Chadwick passing has a big. I mean, to me, Black Panther just revolutionized the world in that now an Indian superhero or an Asian superhero or an African American superhero is viable at the highest level, because that proved that the world will show up and spend money and support superheroes that don't look the same. You know what I'm saying? How directly that addresses the characters here? Well, I mean, there's no escaping the fact that Rhodey and Sam are both Marvel's 2 Black superheroes. And what we loved about that is it created a shorthand where even in moments of silence, that consciousness, that Black consciousness, is obvious because they're alone. But we didn't go into like the characters. We weren't able to have the characters directly address the events of the unfortunate passing of Chadwick, because we were already too far along.
No, I completely understand. No, anyway, thank you, Malcolm. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, my man.
Just thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, you were great.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the first episode, and best of luck on the rest of the series.
Appreciate it. Indian superhero coming soon, bro.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see it.
Yeah. All right.